Okay. My name is Mary Ellen McConnell. There are no letters to the alphabet before my name, and there are no letters to the alphabet after my name. My qualifications are that I have a United States birth certificate, I have a driver's license, and I have a marriage license. The only education I have is a high school education, which has done me well for 68 years. I work for the federal government. I slept with my boss only because I was married to him. He was the greatest guy on earth. His name was Ralph, and he passed away in 1999 after 10 years of prostate cancer. The property that I'm going to talk about we purchased in 1976. In 1988, after 4 years of doing research, writing letters, asking questions of the previous property owner, I learned that the deed that we were notified of when we bought the piece of property had been transferred from manufacturer's Light and Heat to Columbia Gas. For 4 years, someone else had cashed those checks. We knew nothing about those checks. In 1981, when I learned of this legal error, I corrected the mistake, notified Columbia Gas of the change in ownership, and we started receiving the checks from Columbia Gas. $2 an acre. I own 125 acres. Columbia Gas paid us $2 an acre per year. The lease, when I read it, high school education, stated that the lease started in 1972. It was to run for 10 years. Then it was to go on an annual lease basis. Okay, it was guaranteed for 10, and then it became an annual lease. Okay, in 2008, for income tax reasons, I decided that the $248 that I was receiving from Columbia Gas was not of any financial benefit. So I returned the check in 2008 with the request for a quit claim deed. Columbia Gas returned yet another check for 2008 with a letter stating that I could not, under any circumstances, ever cancel the lease. At that time, Columbia Gas also informed me that there were 3 more changes to the lease that we were originally notified of in 1976. Those 3 changes were never, the information was never given to us until 2008. I was totally horrified, absolutely totally horrified. In 2009, I started noticing that my house was vibrating and that there were chemical smells. The house, I was watching television in the evening, and the house started usually vibrating at night, and the smell then occurred at night. I made note of this on a pad and pencil beside the television, and in April of 2010, after 4 months of my house vibrating, 6 months of my house vibrating, I attended a meeting over in Clearville with the gas landowners who had been affected by the gas drilling station called Steckman Ridge, which is also connected to Columbia Gas Transmissions. Okay? At that meeting, I did an interview with the newspapers, informed the reporter that my house vibrates and I have a chemical smell in my home. This is April of 2010. In July of 2010, I get in the mail a lawsuit from Reed Smith out of Pittsburgh. And on their letterhead, which is interesting, I thought, on their letterhead they have offices in London, Chicago, Washington, Munich, Princeton, Northern Virginia, and in Richmond, Greece, as well as Abu Dhabi. Okay? Beijing, and Silicon Valley. These are big boys, Mary Ellen said to herself. I read the lawsuit. They wanted eminent domain. They wanted to come in on the property and do seismic testing. They were claiming eminent domain. They had a right to do this because there was an existing lease. On page 7 of this lawsuit, Mary Ellen being a previous paper pusher in the federal government, on page 7 of the lawsuit, there is an entire page that talks about a Mr. and Mrs. Larry Mills. And I have absolutely no idea who Mr. and Mrs. Larry Mills are. Okay, page 7. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Larry Mills live on Beagle Road in Clearville, PA. I quote, what the hell does that have to do with Mary Ellen McConnell's property? I live on Ragged Mountain Road. The rest of the lawsuit states that Columbia Gas needs a right to this property or they will suffer what they call irreparable injury. I want you to remember those two words because Columbia Gas's irreparable injury doesn't compare to the injury that I have suffered. Okay? Another paragraph in the lawsuit states that Columbia Gas needs to come in and do seismic testing on the property for public good. Well, if this is public good, I wish the public would come in and help me pay the taxes on the property because I'm sitting there paying them all by myself. Where's the public when you need them? Columbia Gas, the judge in Johnstown, federal judge in Johnstown, granted Columbia Gas the right to come in and do seismic testing on the property beginning on July the 25th. Okay? Seismic testing consists of approximately 20 holes on the property, not all in the same place. It's 125 acres. They hit various areas on the farm. It consists of a 5-inch hole, 20 feet deep, and they state that they only put 2.2 pounds of dynamite in the bottom of these holes. They then ran a cable to the surface and they filled the holes back up. They connected all of these holes with many hundreds of others on surrounding pieces of property with cable. Then they came in and they blew all of these holes, all of these seismic tested holes, they blew them all up. Now what you're going to have to know is that my piece of property has a pond, it has a hand-dug well, and it has a drilled well, and it has 7 spring heads on it. Every single one of these holes is at the site of water. Whatever they do, putting it in, taking it out, they have to have water. I don't know, I'm a high school graduate here. When they blow up all of these 20 sites at the site of water, that water is going to be contaminated. Okay? This was done, they finally left at the end of September. Okay? In April, when I did the newspaper interview, I also got an 800 number for the National Response Center, okay, for environmental protection. I started in April calling that telephone number. On April the 13th, DEP finally decided I had an issue. And they sent a gentleman out on July the 13th to test what I was claiming was happening on my piece of property. The April to July, DEP moves at a snail's pace. On July the 13th, DEP came in with his little meter and he found methane gas on the property. I had been suffocating with methane gas, okay? The gentleman, he came in on July the 13th. I got a letter from DEP on August the 27th telling me that it would be another 30 days before DEP could write the report and send me any results. Another 30 days? I don't think so here, people. They also tell me in this August the 27th letter that I am going to have to pay per page for whatever they write up. Okay? I don't think so. This is private property here. As the private property owner, I should be just automatically given a free copy of however many pages there are in this report. Okay. During August, while Columbia Gas was in doing this seismic testing, I call it WMDs, which everybody knows what that means, weapons of mass destruction. They came in, they blew them all up, okay? Let me get to on August the 11th, August the 24th, and August the 26th, and September the 1st, I was in the emergency room of the hospital. On August the 11th, the 24th, and the 26th, I walked in the door and I told the doctors, we can make this nice and simple. All you need to do is take blood gases. I can tell you exactly what the problem is. Just take blood gases. They did. On August the 11th, the 24th, and the 26th, the methane level in my blood system was off the charts. The hot oxygen level was low, and the methane was off the charts. My discharge papers, written by 3 different doctors, told me, do not return to my home. My environment is killing me. I finally decided, 1st of April, that where was I going to go? They don't rent rooms out at the White House, so Mary Ellen had to stay in her own home and find a way of doing that. What I did was purchase a gas mask. I went to all my fire companies, I went to my EMS service here in Bedford County, and I asked what kind of a mask I should wear in order to stay in my home. No one had an answer, so I had to do my own research. And this is what I purchased, and this is what I wear. I've been wearing this in my home when I'm there since September of last year. Okay, the report from DEP finally came in on September the 17th. There are 16 pages to the report. What you should know is that it's addressed to Mary Ellen McConnell, but at an address I don't even know what it is. Okay, it's Rock Hill Church Road. I'm sorry, I live on Ragged Mountain Road. I'm Mary Ellen McConnell. I live on Ragged Mountain Road. Where they got Mary Ellen McConnell on Rock Hill Church Road, I don't know, unless I got a twin sister somewhere. Okay, it's 16 pages. On the first page, the Department of Environmental Protection for the state of Pennsylvania states specifically that they are withholding a memorandum dated August the 24th of 2010, which sets forth the progress of an investigation. There are also 2 exemptions that apply to this document. This is private property. I'm a private person. You do not withhold any information when it's someone's life on the line, especially mine. Okay, it's 17 pages. In it, the young man who came to my property on July the 13th specifically states he contacted Mary Ellen on August the 13th. On July the 13th, he came to the house and he registered methane on his meter in the house. He then, on September the 7th and 8th, July to September, he goes to Columbia Gas Storage in Artemis. And in his charts, and in his comments he makes, he's requested a map of all the fields. Due to seismic testing in the area, the operator is only able to inject at night and are required to shut down at 7 a.m. in the morning. That's interesting. Mary Ellen's initial claim was my house started